The West March War was the invasion of the Republic of Ryazan by the Allium Alliance on June the 23rd, 2021. It resulted in the Bardonian occupation of Ryazan and the establishment of an occupation government, the Tsardom of Westreach. Tensions were already high when the Prophet, Uni, of Bardonia appeared in the Ryazani capital of Carthia, where he delivered an ultimatum to Foreign Minister Asamar of the Republic of Ryazan. The Prophet demanded that Ryazan capitulate to Bardonian annexation or face war. Minister Asamar refused him, and Ryazan made ready for war. Soon after, the nations of the Allium Alliance began to issue formal declarations of war against the Republic. The Allium armies assembled in the Denline Temple of Dorstarok, and equipment was distributed. The Allium armies were roughly divided into three groups. The vanguard and rearguard were made up of generally elite troops. The majority of Allium troops were gathered in a central main force led by the Prophet himself. The Bardonian army originally marched eastwards on accident during the war. Uni would later confess that he always confused east and west. The Ryazani National Army was divided into four groups. Task Force Olfang was stationed in Tosograd. Task Forces Volgograd and Carthia were in the cities bearing those names, and a reserve task force was waiting in Carthia. Because the war covered the entire nation of Ryazan, the Ryazani needed to disperse their already limited resources across the entire country. Bardonia dispatched scouts, Arugo Kote to Carthia and Thunderfan TV to Tosograd. Both were killed by Ryazani troops or Olfang mercenaries, but they confirmed the presence of defenders in both cities. Once the war began, the Prophet led the combined armies in an overland march from Dorstarok to Tosograd, across almost the entire contiguous Bardonian Empire. Due to the distance of this movement, they did not arrive in Tosograd until well after the in-game land wars began. Upon arriving near their objective, the combined army paused to reform before attacking the city. On reaching the gate, they were engaged by arrowfire and Olfang warhounds, which slew several storied warriors. However, the Allium stormed the walls nevertheless, and drove the Ryazani Olfang forces back through the streets in bitter close combat. Ryazani reinforcements were transferred from Carthia city and Volgograd, but they were unable to defeat the enormous numerical superiority of the Allium, and were forced back to the citadel in the center of the city. Finally, the Ryazani armies chose to cut their losses and withdrew from the city, leaving Bardonia occupying one of the most culturally significant cities in Ryazan. Arugo Kote spent most of the war near Volgograd, exchanging insults with the Ryazani garrison. Following the end of the fighting in Tosograd, Mobius and the Prophet also arrived in the area, but there was little real fighting, and the war ended with Ryazan fully in possession of the city. After this, Bardonia fully occupied Ryazan and established their occupation government in the form of the Tsardom of Westreach, concluding the West March War. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. It's free and really helps out the channel. Thank you. Peace out and goodbye.